Okay, we're going to finish up First Corinthians with this third reply. And what I've done is copied and pasted the text from the study that starts with this back to verse 34. Keep silence, not permitted to speak, are commanded to be under obedience. Pretty strong words. They are as husband at home, for it is a shame for a woman to speak at the church, in the church. The woman he is referring to here has a husband. Okay, I'm not going to argue that. And then it goes into verse 36. What came the word of God out from you, or came it unto you only? And that is just Paul wrapping up his teaching that has covered 3 chapters concerning spiritual gifts. And that's still the context where these words were written, and that's the context where we're going to keep them as I give my reply. The Greek word silence is spelled S-I-G-A-O, and does it mean shut up? Women just need to shut up in church. I mean, it sounds pretty strong. Let's take a look here in the New Testament at some other cases of translation where this word was used. And when the voice was past, Jesus was found alone, and they kept it close. That's the word. They kept it close. And told no man in those days of any of these things. They just kept it to themselves. Luke 20:26. And they could not take hold of his words before the people, and they marveled at his answer and held their peace. That's a lot more nice than shut up. They held their peace. It's just like, I'm going to keep this to myself. Acts 12:17, again, and he beckoned unto them with a hand to hold their peace, and declared, just basically saying, let me speak now. It's my turn. Everything in order, everything in its proper place. Hold your peace. Let me finish. Doesn't mean you can never say anything, but it does mean that right now it's my turn. Acts 15:12. Then all the multitude kept silence and gave audience to Barnabas. It's an indication of respect. When the preacher is preaching and people are talking to each other in the pew, it's very indecorous, is the good English word. That's the way shame could also be translated, indecorous. Keep silent when the preacher's preaching. Don't and stay off your cell phones also. Acts 15:13. And after they had held their peace, James answered, saying, Men and brethren, hearken unto me. They just let her go down, and then James was able to start his reply. Now to him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel, and the preaching of Jesus Christ according to the revelation of the mystery, which was kept secret, kept to itself. I know something, I have something, but I'm not going to say it now. I'm going to hang on to it. I mean, this is S-I-G-A-O. But if there be no interpreter, let him keep it a secret, hold his peace, keep it close, keep silence in the church. Let him speak to himself and to God. So we'll get to that. And if anything be revealed to another that sitteth by, let the first hold his peace. Give somebody else an opportunity. Now, in that context, let your women keep silence. It doesn't really mean shut up. It just means properly, there's been a message in tongues, there's no interpretation. You women don't have the answer. Don't start talking about it. And we'll look at that in just a bit. The Greek word that Paul used in 1 Corinthians 14:34 is used by him in two other places in the same chapter. Number one, if there is no one to interpret a public prophecy in tongues, then the tongue speaker needs to tone it down, sigao. I personally feel that they could still pray in the Spirit, but quieter. And that's what I see. Let him speak to himself and God, but not to the whole congregation. It doesn't mean shut up. It doesn't mean shut your mouth. It just means tone it down, keep it to yourself. Number two, a person with a possible understanding of the prophecy should first hold his peace or give in some space. Wait it out. Just hold on for a little bit and see what's going to happen. In the same pen stroke, Paul then says, women in this context of a tongues prophecy should not get to gabbing about it. Ladies, there's just been a message in tongues. There does not appear to be an interpretation. People are praying in the Spirit. They're seeking an answer from God. Shh, keep it down. Don't lean over to your neighbor and start discussing this. That could very well be the interpretation or the proper translation of that. It is a shame. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for women to speak in the church. In the context of a tongues and no interpretation, or a possible interpretation, or a possible spiritual understanding, not really sure if it's from God or not, if they will learn anything, go home, talk to their husbands about it, because it's a shame for them to speak in the church. Let's take a look at this. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak. So it's not just about the women that should wait it out. The men should wait it out also. Slow to speak. Don't say what you first think about anything. I think that a cow chewing its cud is a good example. Taking the time to pray it through, study it out, possibly even talk it over with those in the ministry before you say something out of order. And again, Ephesians 5, it's a shame even to speak of those things. The Greek word translated speak, where it says it's a shame for a woman to speak, is never, check it out, never translated teach or preach, but is translated talk. In the context Paul's teaching on order in a church service and a moment when there is a public tongues uttered with no public interpretation, the women shouldn't start to talking. I'm in full agreement with that. Paul is telling the congregational leaders that it is improper, indecorous, shameful for a woman to start talking about it. Best they just go home and have that chat with their husbands first. I believe that we follow that practice in our congregations.